Aloha. I'm Representative Barbara Marumoto. I represent the 19th House District, which is Kaimuki, Diamond Head, parts of Kahala, Waialainui Valley, Ridge, and Waialaiki. Welcome today to Time with Barbara Marumoto. And today we have some folks from the neighborhood. They're from Leahi Hospital. And to tell us a little bit about it, I have Lydia Chock, and she is the Oahu liaison, a community liaison for the Oahu region of the Hawaii Hospital Systems Corp. And also Alexandra Au, who is the Leahi Adult Day Health Center Program Director. So they'll be telling us all about what they do. And I'll start off with Lydia. And Lydia, I'm going to have to ask you, what is the Hawaii Health Systems Corporation?
Well, the legislature founded it in 1996 to bring together all the state facilities, except for Hawaii State Hospital. There are 5 regions, as well as a corporate office. The regions are East Hawaii, West Hawaii, Maui, Oahu, and Kauai. So we're on every island except for Molokai. And each region is unique to the facilities that they have.
So when you say Maui Hospital,
Maui Memorial Medical
Hospital?
Center, Hilo Medical Center, Kona Community Hospital, they're all part of the system. Samuel Mahilona and Kauai veterans on Kauai. The Oahu region is a little bit different because we don't have a major hospital in our region. We're primarily in long-term care. Leahi is still the TB hospital, so we're still a TB hospital. And Kahuku Medical Center is attached to us when they went through bankruptcy.
Oh, I see. Well,
so there are 12 facilities, about 1,200 beds throughout the whole state. Dr. Bruce Anderson is our CEO. The corporate office is on the Leahi campus.
Well, Leahi, as we know, is in Kaimuki.
Yes. On
the corner of Kilauea Avenue at the top of Kilauea.
Yes. And
Mokapu Avenue.
And Maunalei and Pokoli. We're very unique. We have 4 streets surrounding us.
And Mokapu is a street where Diamond Head Theater is,
yes.
And the edge of the top of Kapiolani Community College.
Yeah.
So now people know where
yes.
it is.
And we've been there since 1902. It started off in 1901 as a private community-sponsored hospital or a caregiver to take care of TB patients, and it was in downtown. And then they moved out in 1902. They bought 16.5 acres in Kaimuki, and we've been there ever since.
Well, that's terrific.
Yes.
You know, there's a lot of buildings there.
Yes.
So maybe you could explain, are they all part of the hospital?
They're all, actually the land is owned by the University of Hawaii, and we lease it from them now. And besides Leahi Hospital and its programs, as I said, we have the corporate office. Halimohalu is also on our campus. They have a wing of one of the buildings.
What is Halimohalu?
It's for Hansen's disease, for people who need more care. Maybe they can't live on Molokai anymore.
I see.
Maybe they're on dialysis or something. And then we also have some of the UH med schools still on our campus.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Are there classes or offices?
KCC has some classrooms because they've been remodeling on their campus. And then the School of Medicine, it's all research, and then they have one clinic that's there still.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that interesting?
So there's a lot going on.
Really? There's the Atherton building. What was in there?
That's primarily our corporate office, IT, and some of it has been used by KCC recently.
I see.
But the main building that you all see as you drive up Kilauea Avenue is the Young Building, and that's our newest building, and it was built in 1951.
1951, that's over a half a century, so
Yes.
it's showing its wear and
Yes.
tear.
Well, but thanks to the legislature, we did have some CIP money. We've actually painted this past couple of months ago, so we look a little better.
That's good. Yeah, we worked hard for that
Yes.
money. And the Department of Health actually has other properties in the area.
They're right across the street with the Diamond Head Health Center, and then they have some offices on Sunset Avenue.
Yes, there's several blocks,
Yeah.
and it all belongs to the University of Hawaii, but the Department of Health leases it.
Yes.
And next to you is the Diamond Head Mental Health Clinic, which is a pretty large cement structure.
Right, right.
That's right, I'm familiar with it. Okay, so what is your particular job? You're supposed to be a community liaison.
So I attend community meetings. I make sure that if the community has some concerns about us, that we address them. I do education about what kinds of programs we have. We go to community fairs. I'm a member of the Kaimuki Business and Professional Association.
That's right. You were the past president there.
Yes, past, that's the important word.
And
we actually, Kaimuki Business and Professional Association honored Representative Marumoto this past June.
Oh, thank
as
you.
a very outstanding person for Kaimuki. You contributed a lot to Kaimuki.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I enjoy helping out where I can. But so you do outreach, you give information out to the community as well
Right.
as work with the community.
And besides Leahi, the Oahu region also includes our sister facility, Maluhia, in the Kapalama Aleva area,
And that is also a long-term care
Yes.
facility
with an adult day health center there as well.
with an adult owned, which is
Our
what
sister
you do.
program.
Okay, well we sort of have the layout of the land now. So we know where Leahi Hospital is and what all the buildings are and the functions there. A TV hospital plus adult long-term care.
Right.
Super. So Alexandra, now we get to your program, and apparently you're the director for the Leahi Adult Day Health Center. So tell me about that.
Well, our Day Health Center is an outpatient program. So it's a program that operates 6 days a week, offering supervision, activities, socialization, and of course meals and health care as needed to adults who would need some assistance during the day. Maybe they're better off not being home alone. Maybe they need help with their meal preparation or some help with one or more of their activities of daily living. So they're welcome to come and join others in the group for activities, games, crafts. We serve snacks and meals, and we always have nurses on board who can do things like monitor their vital signs, help them with anything that they need. We can do everything from glucose monitoring and medication administration. We can do tube feedings, things like that. Or if they just need some supervision, you know, some help, maybe walking or assistance in the bathroom.
I see. That's interesting. So if grandma doesn't want to stay at home 7 days a week, she can attend your center.
Right, right.
And so she could go 6 days or less.
Right. We have a 2-day-a-week minimum. The reason for that is that if we see them less frequently, it's hard for our staff to stay acquainted with their case and to know their needs and what's going on with them. But we do have several that come all 6 days, but the majority come either 4 or 5 days a week. About 50% of the group comes 4 to 5 days a week, and the other half comes 2 or 3 days a week.
I'm guessing that some people may go to work and because they don't want to leave grandma or grandpa at home, they may drop them off at your place?
Exactly, exactly. A lot of our caregivers or our families are bringing a parent or a spouse in for care while they work, and that also gives them a chance for respite.
Oh, I
Now,
see.
an interesting aspect, Barbara, is that our group is aging. Right now, the average age of our group is late 80s. So that being the case, a lot of our caregivers are actually retired themselves. but they may need time to do their own thing, or volunteering, or just having a rest break if they need it. But it also gives the person they care for a chance to socialize with peers and get away and have a life and an identity of their own.
That's really great. So you got to be there a minimum of 2 days a week, up to 6 days a week. And you charge for this service, right? By the day or by the hour?
Right, we charge by the day. They only pay for the days they actually use. But, you know, I think all of us in the daycare business have tried offering flat rates or offering hourly rates. And it's difficult because you have a set number of seats your licensed floor. And if someone comes half the day, you can't fill it the other half of the day. So we found the fairest way is to charge for the days. But unlike school tuition, if they're absent, they don't have to pay for that day. So.
Oh, that's really great. Well, I'm sure they have a lot of fun at this facility. Are they cognizant enough to make friends and play games?
Most of them are. Even at that age, most of them are quite sociable, and I must add, Barbara, some are still very politically aware. And I have a couple who, when they found out I was coming here today, asked me to send their regards and say that they really appreciate you and they feel well represented. So I have to convey that to you and their thanks for your representation of Kaimuki and our area.
Oh, thank you. Well, I won't be running for the next election, so this is not a political endorsement, but thank you very much. I appreciate
But it's good to know that people
recognition.
It's nice to know they're still voting, you know, at that age, yeah.
Yes.
That's super. So the adult daycare is probably an out-of-pocket cost to the people who use it.
For most of our group it is. But there are several other ways. We do have a contract with Medicaid, and those that are Medicaid eligible are often covered by the Home and Community-Based Services waiver. Some have long-term care insurance, and many of the long-term care insurance products will cover a certain amount of it. Some of them have a limit for the number of days they'll get, but I have some that have been getting reimbursed for years. But for the majority, it is out of pocket because it's considered custodial care.
I see. That's very interesting. So custodial as opposed to medical.
Right, as opposed to anything restorative.
Restorative or rehab.
Right.
Oh,
right.
I see. Okay. Now, but when it comes to your hospital, now theoretically, the Hawaii health system where we started, it was supposed to become self-sufficient, paid for by patient care and by insurance, private insurance. But you also depend a lot on government programs, right?
Right. But most of our long-term care residents are covered by either Medicare, Medicaid, or some kind of private insurance. But we still don't get out of the red.
That's true. Every year the legislature does come up with a subsidy of, I can't remember how much it was, but let's say ballpark 30 million a year or somewhere in that area.
I think so.
But that is better than when it first started. I think it was a totally a state expense paid for by taxpayer dollars. So we are collecting third-party reimbursements now. So, and you know, we have a greater greater need for your services because of our aging population. That is terrific. So, you know, is there anything else that we should know about in terms of your program? What kind of activities do you have? What kind of games do you play? How do you keep these people engaged?
Well, we try to cover all the major domains of human needs. You know, we try to offer some activities that are for cognitive stimulation, some that are to promote socialization, some that maybe fulfill the spiritual or creative aspects of the mind, and some that are just fun. So we would typically have activities that would kind of be reality orientation. In the morning, we start every day with morning motivation, where we go over what day it is, the date, maybe some significant things in current events, and as I said, some still talk about politics. And then we'll have exercise both morning and afternoon, which is usually seated exercise that even those in wheelchairs can do for some range of motion and stretching. will always have an activity. It might be something like bingo or maybe a skill game. I think we can see now some pictures of them doing some puzzles and
crafts and
some, yeah, this one I think they're working on a craft activity, maybe some type of a coloring. I can't see that well. But they'll enjoy doing those types of things. Everything is optional, Barbara. You know, if someone doesn't want to engage in the larger group activity, we'll offer them alternatives. You know, they might want to read, look at magazines, talk story, or they can rest whenever they want. Here you see them playing a putting game. So even those in wheelchairs can come up and practice putting with the little golf green.
Do you feed them lunch?
Yes, we feed lunch, which is provided by hospital dietary. So the lunches are geared to their medically prescribed diet if necessary, or also their preferences. Some of them need it mechanically altered, or they have dietary requirements.
Oh, I see. So it gets a little complicated when
Yes,
you're dealing with so many people.
That's why we can take people that really are at what we call intermediate care facility level, you know, and they would get the same consideration that they would if they were in the institutional setting, but they're still able to stay home and get those needs met.
How many people come in every day?
Well, typically we have about 30 each day. We offer services on Saturday, which we just added in this year. So that day is smaller. That's usually under 15. So some of them like the Saturday because it's kind of relaxed. But we see that growing as we go along. So I think eventually it'll be the same size as the other days.
Well, I just see a greater and greater need because I know in East Honolulu, it's one of the older neighborhoods in the state. I mean, when you go out toward Eva's, there's so many new young families. And my understanding is that between Kapahulu and Kuli'o'o, you know, just short of Hawaii Kai, you will get maybe 25% of the population that is over 60. So, and this is an old statistic, so the average has probably gone up since then.
And you know, one thing I've noticed, Barbara, they like to go to a program close to home, even for the long-term care. It seems to be very important to our seniors to stay in their own stomping grounds and, you know, to be someplace that's near their own home, near their family. And of course, it makes it a lot easier for the family to come and visit or to drop them off. So it's important that these kind of programs be located in those areas where the seniors live. They don't want a long commute any more than we do.
Tell me about your staff. Now, how many staff do you have per patient or total staff?
Well, for day health level, the state requirement is 1 for every 8 participants. We generally have at least that in terms of our aides, our adult day health aides who are certified nurses aides, who help with the functional things, you know, walking them, getting them to and from the bathroom, assisting with transfers or things like that. But in addition to that, we always have RNs on the site. 1 or 2 are always present when we're open. We also have an occupational therapist who does our activity programs.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And we have a social worker who's there also to provide assistance to the families and to watch for needs that we might need to try to make referrals or provide assistance for.
Good to know. Now, about the families, a lot of people are saddled, and that's a good term, saddled with caregiving. It's a constant job. It's a, you know, a hard job, you know, month after month, day after day. So do you provide any services to the caregivers of these seniors?
Definitely. That's where, as a business, we actually have 2 markets, the caregiver and the care recipient. The caregivers often need support in the way of someone to talk to, a social worker maybe to help them find their way through this labyrinth of services that are out there. We also can help them in planning for the future. We provide some educational offerings. At least once every quarter we'll have some type of a workshop or a little lecture or group activity for them. And those have covered things like paying for long-term care, planning for long-term care, managing difficult behavior and dementia, nutritional needs. We try to survey them every so often to see what topics they're looking for.
I see.
So in addition to education and social service support, we're also providing them with respite, of course, by having the program there for the person they care for.
And quite a few of your caregivers are caregivers on the other side, too. They take care of grandchildren after school. You see the grandchildren coming along to pick up.
Yeah, and we even
Grandma.
have grandchildren who are the primary caregiver in quite a few cases. Yeah.
How interesting.
So
Each family works out how they're going to handle the care of their elders, and there's a wide variety of...
It's a labor of love, but it is a labor.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm really happy to hear about your program. Are there any other requirements in terms of your staff and any nursing staff available, or do practical nurses? Are there any requirements for you as administrator that you have to have, or?
Well, this state does require for a day health program that we always have a registered nurse or a licensed nurse there.
You do.
Both for the well-being of the clients, but also because we do administer medications if that's needed. And we do have to monitor them and keep track of different conditions, and also to supervise the staff to make sure that they recognize what needs to be done and are prepared for any emergencies that might arise.
Good to know.
One additional thing that we didn't mention when we were talking about the food, Barbara, we also have a program where we offer take-home meals that they can purchase.
Oh, is
if
that
they
right?
want a meal from our dietary department, that they can go home and microwave for dinner that night or at a later time. So that's another service that can kind of ease the burden on the family, or in the case of some seniors that are by themselves more, they'll have something they can prepare that'll be nutritious.
Alexandra, you mentioned dementia, and do you handle people with occasional dementia or Alzheimer's, or people who might wander off? Can you take those people?
We do, in our eligibility requirement, if they're a really serious exit seeker who are bound and determined to get out, our physical plan is not really safe for that. That's a little bit more difficult to do. But we do have a lot of dementia, and our staff is well trained in how to redirect them, and we try to keep them engaged with activities that will keep them from wanting to leave. But it's not uncommon for some of our ladies around 4 o'clock to say, I've got to go home and make the rice, I got to get home, I got to cook, and they'll really want to leave. But usually we have to find ways to finesse them into staying.
Oh, I see. Well, I know you folks really take good care of these seniors, because I remember once I was invited there for a birthday party, and one lady was turning 100, and the other one was turning 102?
2 or 3.
Or 3?
Yeah.
Simply amazing, and they were both seated there when they had big cakes in front of them, and thank heavens you didn't have to put 100 candles on each of the cakes. The ladies were very happy. They're very talkative, and there's lots of cameras there. Even news media was there. And that was a wonderful, happy occasion.
We always celebrate birthdays. You know, Barbara, places like our center are the only place where ladies lie about their age, but in the upward direction. You know, it's not unusual to hear someone say, I'm 95 and a half. And usually kids stop doing that after about 5, right?
That's cute. Well, I remember once in the legislature, but they were honoring one lady who had been interned during World War II, and they said she was 98. And from the other side of the room, she said 97. So she was correcting them because he was making her too old.
But often that's a source of pride in that age group, you know, to be the
An accomplishment.
oldest one. Yes, it certainly is.
Well, we're just so lucky to have your services available, and not only at Maluhia, Leahi, but at Maluhia.
Right.
And the health department does provide a great service in providing this on Oahu. There's just such a need for this type of programs in the private sector and in the public facilities. So I just don't know how we're going to handle the coming time bomb, so to speak, in terms of long-term care and people being able to afford long-term care.
Well, certainly all of us in the field are challenged with coming up with new ways to provide services and keep them cost effective. Our CEO, Vince Lee, is working on a strategic plan so that we're looking at what will we do in the future. How can we help provide services for the seniors and the growing number of them?
Well, tell Vince to work fast.
Okay.
We will need a master plan, and I know there's some discussion of a master plan of your campus also.
Right.
And I know you have to talk to the University of Hawaii since it's their property.
Right.
And I think Kapiolani Community College would like to have more land also for their expansion. So it's an interesting issue for future state administrators and legislators. But it's an exciting, dynamic area in that the Culinary Institute will be going up soon on the slopes of Diamond Head. And that's Kapiolani Community College project. And then the Diamond Head Community Association, the Diamond Head Theater will also be looking at making a new theater. Well, assuming they raise the necessary funds, which I'm sure they will. So it's a dynamic, beautiful area, and I think I call Kilauea Avenue sort of the saddle, because if you drive on that street, on one side you see Waikiki and the ocean, and then toward Kapiolani you could see Cocoa Head crater. So it's just a beautiful spot, and from your hospital you have the most gorgeous views
that
I have ever seen. So anyway, ladies, thank you so much for coming. I want to thank you very much, Alexandra Au and Lydia Chock from Leahi.
And we want to thank you, Representative Marumoto, for all you've done in your 34 years in the legislature, taking care of Leahi Hospital.
It's been a pleasure. This is Barbara Marumoto saying aloha to you all. Thank you so much.